Hi, welcome to Lit with Lloyd. I'm your host, Lloyd Russell. Shout out to KCAT for hosting our show. And our guest today is Laleh Khoshkbariie. Khoshkbariie. I was close, but
very close.
Yeah, I'll get it right the next time.
It's all good.
And she has written two really amazing cookbooks. We're going to talk about those. They're both under the title of Laleh's Table.
Yes.
And we'll find out a lot of details about that. Also, we would like now to hear from the audience. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Now, this is a first for me. We've never had a chef on our show. And as you all can see, she brought some treats for us. So we're going to do something a little different. I'm going to ask you one question, and then we're going to stop, and everybody's going to eat the food.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. It's not going to happen quite that way, but it could have. So let's start by telling me how you got into cooking. Well, how did you become interested in cooking?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say hello to you, Lloyd, and the audience. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm really honored to be your first chef and cookbook author on this show. It's very exciting. As far as going back to my childhood, I remember since I was 5 years old, even earlier, I was always fascinated and so amused by just food and the textures and just the aromas and just making and creating and presenting. I was always fascinated, and I just became really known for my cooking and just being enthusiastic about how I present my cooking and how I present my food and how much I eat. So it's been a lifelong journey, and from early on, it was innate in me. I've always loved the art of cooking, and I made a career out of it. So I'm very excited to be here with you.
Good. Okay. Well, what made you decide to write two cookbooks, and how did that get started? What actually prompted you to write a cookbook, and how did you go about doing it?
Well, going back to the beginning, starting from school years, I was always fascinated in cooking and wanted to attend culinary school. But in my family, why go to a school when you already know how to cook? So that was out of the question. It was either you had to be a doctor or a lawyer or a business person. So business was it. I went to school, I studied business, and I got that over with. Meanwhile, along the way, I was taking classes, going to anything and everything that I can get my hand on, and researching and writing recipes. At 16 years old, I started working at my father's and my uncle's pizza place. And I had a knack for this stuff. I was very excited, and I even helped with the managing. I was in my element. It was just what I wanted to do. So I worked there, and for many years during schooling, and then life happens, get married and kids, and so then one day I was just sitting, and I decided to have my own catering company. So I developed the next day. I went and registered, got a business license, and bam. I started with family and friends, doing business, not charging anybody or any fees, just doing free, getting some reactions of my food and just getting the experience. I did, then it prolonged, and it was a really great business. I did it for 15 years. And then this magical thing, COVID hit. So, yeah, we all love that part of our lives, right? How many times can you assemble the drawers or, put the whatever back and put it back again and yell at the kids? So I decided, okay, with my 35 years of experience in the professional field in cooking world, I decided, okay, I'm just going to put everything together. I'm going to bring my recipes and what I have and just started sorting out. And one day on Facebook, my friends and family had always been telling me that I should write something down. I should do this and do that. And it was never the time. I always believe that everything just happens at the right time that's supposed to happen. And COVID was this experience for me to really dig deep and see what I wanted to do next and what I wanted to stop. So catering business was really great and I loved it, but I was getting to a point that it was just very stressful and tiresome for me. And this was just the biggest thing that came to me. So I started on that, and like I said, one day on Facebook, I saw one of my friends suggest that, oh, you should write a cookbook, this and that. And one of my other friends, she said, I do this stuff. I'm a publisher. Do you know that, Laleh? So it's just, what? Okay. So it was just meant to be. Actually, my friend who is my publisher, her name is Jamison Kaufman. She's a wonderful designer, and she also writes her own cookbooks. Actually, not cookbooks. No. Let's go back. Her children's stories. Okay. Everything is cookbooks. Everything cooking with me. So we just got together and we hit it off, and just one thing led to another. Laleh's Table, The Persian Pleasures was born. And from there on, we continued on. We got the second book out, and during COVID, we were going through back and forth with all this planning and stuff. And I traveled to LA, and we had to meet some people, traveled all around the Bay Area. It was so difficult, and getting the publishing companies and the printing companies and trying to get, the word out. Okay, here I am. I have a product. I need you to help me with this. It was just very challenging, but we got it through, and it was done, and I'm quite happy with it. And I worked really hard on them. I did everything. I even took the pictures, the design, the script, and my beautiful designer friend, she put it together. So I'm very happy about it, and I hope people enjoy it.
So the book is published by your friend?
It's self-published. No, it's published through a printing company, Book Baby, and that's where I go through. And you can purchase it on my website, lalehstable.org. I also have merchandise on there as well.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Okay. I can't even begin to tell you how many authors that I've spoken to who went sometimes years without being able to get a book published. Of course, the self-publishing route is a way to go, but getting books published is really difficult.
It's quite challenging, but if you know me, one thing about me, when I put my mind into something, it's got to get done. I can't sleep, I can't do anything. I use everything I have, and I work for it, I run after it, I chase it, and eventually I get it done.
Well, the pictures are amazing.
Thank you.
I'll just flip a couple of pages here so people can see. But it's really amazing. So how did you take the pictures, and how did the book, the pictures look like they've been done by an artist.
Oh, thank you.
How did
so
all
much.
that happen? How did you take the pictures? How did you create such a beautiful look?
Well, with one hand holding the camera, the other one trying to
Really?
fix. That's how it started. And I said, okay, this is not going to work. I have to do something. A friend of mine, Amanda, she's also a designer. I called her. I said, okay, I don't know anything about lights and what should I do? So she suggested I get one of those ring lights. So I had to set up a little studio in one of my rooms, and then I put the light up and I adjusted. I just have a knack for things that I want to do, go after something, I just make it work. I study it, I research it, and I just make it happen. So I took the pictures, and I would look at them. I see, what's wrong with it, or adjust the coloring. It was a long, tedious process, learning. I'm not a photographer, but I had to learn all that. But I think they came out pretty good.
Yeah, all evidence to the contrary about not being a photographer. From the time you decided to write your first cookbook, how long did it take to get to where it looks right over there?
Um, I would say 2 years.
For the first one?
So, no, both.
Did
I
you do
got
both
both.
at the same time?
I did that while I was working on the second one. I was finishing the first one.
Ah.
So the thing is, I already had all these recipes in my, repertoire, or just I had written it down. It was all there, but in a mess. So it was just putting it together. But the testing the recipes, each one I cooked from scratch, and I read the recipes and I followed the recipes. And I was just making sure that if someone doesn't know how to cook and they're going to use my recipe, I wanted to make sure that everything was, adjusted and fixed and whatever I need to do to make it perfect. Especially the first one, I learned a lot from my grandma. We called her Abba. She's all, I know she's here watching me. She's always in the back of my mind. I learned from her, but if there was no measuring, toss this, toss that, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So it was just, you can imagine all those recipes I had to, put a little measurements into them. So that's how the process went.
How many recipes do you have in each book?
I have, the first one is around 135 or so, and the second one's around 150 or so. So, yeah.
So you cooked
Yes.
roughly almost or 350 to 400 recipes. Right?
Thank you for acknowledging that. Yes, just imagine. But the thing is, when it came time for taking the photo, I'd be so exhausted because I'd be making 2 or 3 recipes a day. I was set up, I take the photos, and then, it's done, I put it away. Everything is all done. And then once I sat down to look, I had forgot to put one thing on there. So I had to start all over again from scratch. But it was fun for me.
Wow. Okay. Tell us what kind of recipes you have in the first book, and then we'll talk about the second book.
My first book is dedicated to my culture. So it's Iranian recipes, Turkish and Azeri, where I'm from, with the northern province of Iran, Tabriz. It's based on what I grew up with and all my favorites. It's most healthy, authentic dishes like soups and thick soups and rice dishes, chicken and salmon, whatnot. Everything is, dolmas, grape leaf dolmas, or desserts, lots of desserts. I have one over here, which is the gluten-free, cholesterol-free almond cookies. Those are everybody's favorite.
We'll let you know.
Absolutely.
But they do look delicious.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, so that was with the first cookbook.
That's the first one, yes.
And the second one, which is called Recipes for Your World from Around the Globe. How many countries are represented, and did you visit any of the countries to get even a closer look and taste, or did you do it all from recipes that you had access to?
The second one, it says 11 countries. There was more than 11 countries in there. Starting with, I wanted to start with my own country, United States of America. That's where it's my home. So there's American, Turkish, Azerbaijan, French, Greek. Oh, I have a Greek friend in here, in the audience. Asian, a lot of from Asian countries, China, Japan, Korea. I have Jewish recipes in there, all my favorites. Can't think of the others, but I have a lot in there. Mexican, Italian, of course. So these countries, Italy, I've visited. Turkey, I've visited. Iran, I've visited. So it's from my own interpretations of my background and also what I grew up with. I had friends from all across different continents and countries and cultures and ethnicities. So every time I would go to their homes, I would be in the kitchen with their grandmas and with their moms, learning traditional cuisine, real cultural cuisine, which I was fascinated with. That's what I wanted. All the others, they would have fun. My other friends would be doing their own thing, but I would be learning the right way from these grandmothers. For example, like a Mexican tamales, grandma was making it and she taught me what you do is put a little penny in the bottom of the pot. So when it rumbles, the water is boiling. So that's when you turn it down. So the little things like that, I'm happy and so grateful to know and to have experienced those.
So if you spent time with your friends' mothers and grandmothers, did that hurt your friendships?
Possibly in some way, I would be called, but no, I had nothing to do with any. I just wanted to learn how to cook.
All right, we're going to take a quick break.
Okay.
And we'll be back very soon with Laleh Khoshkbariie.
Laleh Khoshkbariie.
Laleh, what did I say?
You said the same thing.
Okay.
And good for you, Lloyd.
I was so focused on the second name that I screwed up the first one.
You can just call me Princess. That's all you need to.
Cool.
Yeah.
We will be back in a moment.
Thank you to the City of Montessorino for their continued support of KCAT Public Media. The City of Montessorino has enabled KCAT to inspire, educate, entertain, and inform our community through the magic of television and digital media for over 38 years. Thank you.
Welcome back to Lit with Lloyd. We are here with Laleh Khoshkbariie.
Excellent.
My first time that I got both names correct. And let's get back to it. So you have now written 2 books, 2 cookbooks. Do you have another one in the series coming? And will there be any after that?
Yes. My next one is in the works. So hopefully by next year it'll be launched. It's all desserts. I've been known as a dessert queen. So I'm very excited about that one. It's all the cakes and cookies and sweetbreads and tarts and really, really great stuff coming up.
You obviously, as you said, you had your catering company.
Yes.
Have you ever thought about having a cooking show on TV?
That's my lifelong dream.
Have you pursued it?
I've been trying. But now that I have a solid base, I have cookbooks, I've done my experience, I have my catering business. About 20 some years ago, I went and auditioned for Food Network, which is my dream, where I want to be. And they kind of said, "Oh, we like you, but you know." So, so I'm hoping this time it's just not Food Network, but I'm ready if anyone would like to pick me up and believe in me. And I have a great show idea, which it hasn't been done before, and I can't announce it here because then I won't have it be mine anymore, right?
Yeah.
So I'm very excited about that, and I'm working towards that.
Well, my wife and I had a chance to visit the Food Network studios in New York.
Oh, fun.
And it's very cool.
Exciting.
So that would be great to be able to turn on Comcast 34 and see you on a cooking show.
I hope someday. Yes, very soon.
Okay, good. This is a book about authors.
Yes.
So, and you are definitely an author. So I like to talk about how you promote yourself. How are you getting the word out? Do you have a publicist? How do I find out about your books?
First of all, I have amazing circle of friends and supportive family they're just been exceptional. I can't even thank them enough. Besides that, I have my website, dalastable.org, and I have my Facebook page and my Instagram page, and I'm on TikTok. I create all these little videos and time-consuming, very, very difficult thing to do. I have my daughter as my manager on TikTok. She tells me what songs are the latest and which will get me more viewers and followers. But that will be that. I do not have the means or the budget to, have other people working for me. I'm all me. I do everything on my own. Promoting, advertising, just getting out there. I try to reach my friends, companies. I go to companies presenting my products and my food and my books, just, whatever I can do. But if, anyone out there is willing or has an idea, I would love it. Come my way.
How about bookstores? Have you tried bookstores?
Yes, I have. Books Inc. actually is willing to sell my books at their stores, but they say it's a process, so that it's in a waiting list. Everything is a process.
Yeah.
But we'll see. But right now, we have a full distribution of vast distribution of other places that you can purchase my books at. But the best is just on my website, lalestable.org.
And you mentioned that you've gone to companies.
Yes.
To promote.
For example, I go to real estate companies, my friends whom work there. I introduce my products, my books, and my whole vision is that when you sell or buy a home, or you're agent as a gift for your clients, what better way to welcome them or thank them than a cookbook? It's appropriate, and things like that. I just come up with these scenarios and I just present them.
Okay, and do you find that you have a lot of opportunities to go out into the field and show the book?
Yes, I do quite a few promotional activities and places where I bring my book, but I've done enough of those small times, so I'm ready for the big time.
Good.
And I'm actually going after producers and directors, and I'm auditioning and sending in my stuff. We'll see what happens.
Good. Audience, what do we think about her getting to the big time? Apparently you have a lot of support to do that.
I'm very lucky. I'm very grateful. Thank you.
Okay. Every book, every author has an editor of some kind. Did you have somebody that went through your books to make sure that spellings were correct and grammar was pretty decent? How does that work?
My friend, publisher friend, designer friend, she's one, and she helped me with the editing, and yes, me also. So it's been quite challenging. Every aspect of it, I tried to do it myself. So yeah.
Wow.
You may find, hopefully none, but if there's one or two here and there I missed or she's missed, then it's okay.
Okay. When somebody wants to order a book, is it prepared at that point? Is it basically book on demand, or do you have a whole bunch of books sitting somewhere?
It's book on demand on my website, no matter where you are in the world. It's almost. It could be purchased and they'll be delivered.
All right.
Yeah.
So speaking of the world, how is the world finding out about you other than America?
Well, actually, I've had orders, people who've ordered from Australia, from Europe, and from Turkey, from Saudi Arabia. So those are exciting. That was very exciting when I got found out about that. But I just through my website and friends and word of mouth, and that's all for me right now. I would love to have a big old promotional, Super Bowl.
Yeah, that 30-second commercial will cost you.
I mean, that'll be okay. If anyone would like to, represent me, that'll be okay.
Good, okay.
I'm actually looking for an agent to represent me because it's too much on my own.
I understand perfectly.
Yes, and again, that's another difficulty
Yes.
to
yes.
finding in representation.
No
but
question.
Yes, but that's what I'm interested in right now, and going to the TV world. So that's my next step.
Okay, that sounds great.
Yes.
We have again spoken to many authors about the agent thing. We know there's a very famous author that had 62 rejections. Jean Auel, who wrote Clan of the Cave Bear. And there are so many stories about authors that you would just think have always been successful, but have had history of having trouble finding an agent. So your day will come.
Thank you so much.
No doubt about that.
Thank you.
Do you have any other activities that you do besides cooking and cookbook making?
Well, I'm also a dancer, so I teach dance. I teach Zumba, and which is the light of my life, another passion of mine. It's very exciting, and I've met so many wonderful people and have made beautiful friends. I mean, long friendships through it. And I teach 5 days a week. I teach at Forma Gym and also Courtside Bay Club. So if anyone's interested to try a class, please come on in.
And how long have you lived in the Bay Area?
My entire life I've been here. So this is where I grew up, and this is what I call home. I travel around the world, but it's home. Home to me is right here in San Jose, Las Gatas area.
Well,
Yeah.
Somebody suggested that I ask you what your first name means.
Oh, Laleh means tulip. So tulip flower. I have some tulips right here.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. You've got a third book coming that is desserts.
Yes.
Is that the end of Laleh's Table cookbooks?
No, there's 5 in my series.
Aha.
So
Let's talk about those.
Yes, I have 2 more after that. The 4th one would be soups, salads, and smoothies, and all the good veggies and good old for you food. My 5th one is a very dear one to my heart, and it's about food restrictions for all those whom, for example, gluten-free or diabetic or any difficulty that they can't have all kinds of foods, and so it's geared towards the recipes that they can make that is okay for their kind of their system, that it won't evoke all kinds of different abnormalities. So.
And what is the timing for numbers 4 and 5?
Good question. It's in the works, but like I said, right now my focus is trying to get on TV, get my own show. That is the next step.
How are you actually going about doing that? And are you looking at anything besides the Food Network?
Yes, I'm actually auditioning. I'm sending in resumes, and I'm calling and just pursuing it how I'm supposed to. I'm also an actor. I have an acting degree. I've taught acting for many years. So I have a degree, so I'm really professional in that department as well. So I feel like it will be good for me, and I would represent really well what I need to get across to everyone out there. But the main focus of this whole entire my being is to bring people together, bring the cultures together with music, dance, food. I mean, we are all the same. We have same dreams, similar, activities. What we do, we wake up, we eat, we go live, we, work. And then at the end of the day, we have family around the table, we eat, we discuss our days. And no matter where you go around the world, everyone is the same. We're all the same. The only difficulty and difference is that separate us is the lack of understanding. If you understand what the culture, the food, what people, how they really are, it's really easy to bond. And that's where I come in. I would like to bring everyone together as one with food, music, and dance.
Well, I think that kind of sums it up. I don't have any other questions. So, yep. I think that sounds fantastic.
Thank you.
So what we are going to do now is we are going to take some questions from the audience.
Okay.
About how many hours a day would you say you put into cooking on average?
Good question. I have 2 kids, and they don't eat fast food or outside food. So I have to take breakfast, lunch, dinner every single day. But for me, it's really simple because I love it, and I have preparation, weekly meals that I do. So, for example, the best thing to do is one day a week you go shop and then bring and then dedicate that day just to making meal prepping for the whole entire week. And it becomes easier. Then you have the meats ready, or the chicken, or whatever, the veggies ready. Everything is ready and set up in containers, and you just toss them together and call it a day. So that makes life much easier. Okay, about 3 hours.
All right, next question.
Laleh, the more I hear about you and all the things that you are, just an amazing lady.
No,
Oh my God, so talented. Actor,
thank
chef,
you so much.
Zumba dancing. And she's the greatest Zumba teacher, by the way. And this is where all her followers here. And that doesn't mean that I'm any of the good ones, but anyway. So the question I have is, how easy is it to find the ingredients here?
We are very lucky. We live in an area which is multicultural, and we have a lot of international markets with almost everything that you would possibly need that's in my book.
Oh, great.
And I have actually in the spice section in the back of my book, where the spices that are not familiar to different cultures, I have listed them and explained what they are, and easily available at international markets or online. So that is a really great thing that you can order.
Good.
Yes.
All right, anybody else?
So Laleh,
Yes.
what are the portion sizes for your recipes?
You know how much I don't like to eat, right? So I come from a very large, big family, and our dinner parties are maybe 17 courses or more. But there's no such thing as, having a little small meal. So portion sizes, there's mostly 6 to 8. My grandmother, while we're having lunch or dinner, we were already talking about the next day's or the next week's menu. It was already planned and made. So I have big, large portions. The great thing is you could make them and, package them and freeze them for, future use. So that's what's good about it.
Hi, I have had the pleasure of having many, many, many things that Laleh has made over years and years of time, and everything is just always extraordinary. She's a wonderful chef, a wonderful person, and I'm just curious, Laleh, can you tell us maybe what your favorite recipe is in all this, and also could you be kind enough? I noticed that you have some merchandise up there on the table, and I have had the pleasure of having just some of Laleh's things, her cup, her mid holder, and there's just all this wonderful merchandise. So maybe you could share some of that with us also.
Absolutely.
Please.
Thank you so much. I did not pay her to say all those things. I just wanted to make that clear. That's very sweet. Thank you so much. As far as my recipe, my favorite recipe, I couldn't soon choose a favorite star from the heavens. So everything I just adore. I mean, I'm not a big seafood fan, so that is the only thing
Those
that
are
I
out.
get. Those, well, a few things here and there. Salmon I love. If the fresh fish, that's all I can have. As long as it's caught and you just make it right there. Other than that, but did I answer your question? Oh, the merchandise. Thank you so much. See, getting old. Yes, you can purchase them on my website, lalestable.org. I have mittens, I have cups and aprons and anything and everything to do with the cooking world. And I'm really proud of them. So you might like them. You can order them on my website as well. Thank you so much for asking.
When you decide on a recipe, how long does it take you, like from the beginning, like many tests and stuff before you decide this is the finished product?
When I write the recipes?
Like when you decide on one?
Yes, that's a good question. I think of it in my head. You know, I've made these recipes many times, all these dishes. But writing them down is a whole different story. So I envision, actually, when I'm actually making the food, I have to, I have to, measure that before I put it in to make sure that how much I need to write down. But how much time it takes quite a few minutes to put all that together. That's why when I made these recipes that I wrote in the book, I actually went through and read and made them while I was reading, so I can adjust what needed to be adjusted. And that's how the books came about.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Any others? All right. Got another question here.
Can we make a suggestion as to what we want you to put in your book?
Absolutely.
Something, if we make it up. Will you cook it?
Absolutely. I'm really good at just looking at a dish and recreating it. When I look at it, I kind of taste and sense the aromas, and I just feel the textures, and I put that together into what I feel like that it should be. So it's exciting.
That's great.
It's very exciting.
Okay, one more.
Laleh June, I love your recipes. I think they were written you poured love into your recipe.
Thank you.
And every story that you've attached to it, it just brings a lot more emotions and love into that cooking. But I wanted to ask you about your new ideas about perhaps a bar, because a lot of busy moms grab and go,
Yes.
have a hard time kind of putting that 2 hours, 3 hours to cook. Are you thinking about that, and when is that coming out, and where can we get it?
Thank you so much. I've actually started making these, we call them the protein bombs, which they're organic ingredients. I've been making them and selling them for my gym, and they're going like hotcakes. I can't keep up. So eventually, hopefully in the future, I will have some products, bring into the market. Thank you so much.
Great.
Yes, that's also
great.
in the works.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, that'll do it. And we are closing the book on today's podcast. Special thanks to KCAT again for producing our show. I want to also give a shout out to Ron Knapp of KCAT's Producers Network for recommending Laleh to me, because it's been great having you here.
Thank you so much.
For those who want to see other podcasts, you can go on Lloyd.show/YouTube/ whatever that thing's called. And you'll be able to see some of the other shows. So that'll do it for us. And thank you. We'll see you next time.
You just heard Lit with Lloyd here on KCAT Radio. Explore all our KCAT original programming at kcat.org/radio.